Hola estudiantes, bienvenidos a clase de español y hoy vamos a discutir circunlocución. So what is circumlocution? Well, it's probably going to fall in that same category that you had for conjugation, words that you've never heard of before. However, this one you probably do quite often because it's something that we really depend on even in our native language. So I'm going to give you a scenario. I am trying to talk to you, and there's this word I'm trying to identify, but for some reason it is not coming to my mind, so I'm going to start describing it to you. It's kind of like a house, but it's bigger and it's red and it doesn't have many rooms, and it's where horses stay. If you said barn, then you were right. I was looking for the word barn. And if you notice what I did there, I just described something that I couldn't think of the word for. And this happens to us all of the time. We're constantly trying to think of a word and you think, what's that word I'm looking for? And you describe it to a friend so that they can tell you what the word is you're looking for, or at least understand what you're trying to say. So we do this in our native language and we do it in languages we learn in order to get more comfortable speaking with them. And also for one very important thing for you to realize, you don't need to know every single word in the dictionary in order to speak well or even near fluency. This is a major way between novice and intermediate and advanced level speaking is can you utilize words you do know in order to talk about something that you don't know. So let's take a deeper look at circumlocution. So first of all, like I said, it's describing or defining something instead of saying the word. It's literally circumnavigating the word. You're going around the word you're looking for by describing it or defining it along the way. You also would hear this if you are, say, in a classroom where you don't speak the primary language and they don't speak your language. If you ask, in this case, in Spanish, ¿qué significa? But in English, what does blank mean? The person you have asked is going to give you a definition. All right, I saw this all the time. I went to school with a lot of students who were exchange students, and they would have to ask teachers what a different word means, and the teacher didn't know their language, so they would describe it or define it for that student. That is another facet of circumlocution. Essentially, the teacher circumlocated the words so that the student understood. This is something that you can ask other people to do for you. Use basic words to define something that you don't understand, or you can use in order to get your point across and communicate effectively with a person you are talking to. It's really important because, like I said, it's the major difference between intermediate and advanced level speaking and novice and intermediate level speaking to a degree. So being able to come up with words in order to describing words you don't know is a way to show that you are able to rapidly come up with different things to say and respond without needing to stop and use an English word or stop and look something up, but rather just keep saying things until you get your idea across. This makes a huge difference in your ability to communicate well because we don't always have a dictionary really handy to look up something, and we're not going to know every word in the dictionary. However, what you can do is learn basic words and be able to describe things that you don't know how to say in the language you are learning. So you can use any word you know, descriptors, colors, verbs, nouns of different kinds in order to describe or define this item and talk around or rephrase that thing you're trying to say. So I have an example here outside of the barn example. You need to tell your friend that it is raining outside. Maybe you guys are going to go for a run, but it started to rain and you don't want to run in the rain, but you don't know the word for rain. So instead, you say, the sky is crying. I know it sounds ridiculous, and I'm guessing your friend would probably have a good chuckle out of it, but I can also guess that your friend would understand what you're trying to say. The sky is crying is essentially like saying the rain, right? There's something falling from the sky, there's liquid falling from the sky. You could say there's water in the sky, water in the air. Most people know the words for water and air, agua and aire, and in is N. So, hay agua en el aire, there's water in the air. Maybe you're trying to say it's humid, I don't know, but that's another way you could describe the rain without saying the word for rain. So many people can actually figure out what you're saying based on your descriptive quality that you have given to this word. And a bonus, they will usually tell you what the word you're looking for is after you have said this descriptor. So this is an opportunity for you to learn a new word. You can ask them to repeat it slower. You can ask them to spell it so that you can learn a brand new word and add that to your new mental dictionary so you don't have to circumlocate the next time you want to say, use the word for rain. I hope this has helped you understand what circumlocution is, and I hope you're able to use it. So I strongly suggest that for a little activity, just to practice this and get used to it, in your daily life, go around your house and find random items you don't know how to say in Spanish, which at this point, since we haven't done any vocabulary for this particular course, would be most things. But find that item and see if you can describe it in a way that would make sense. So, for example, there's a guitar right next to me. I could say a guitar is an instrument that I strum, or an instrument with strings, or an instrument that can be acoustic or electric, which I know can be a lot of things, but see if you can figure out how to define and describe different things, even in English, just so you get the idea of circumlocution in your head. And then as you're learning more vocabulary, start applying this as often as you can. Every time you have to look up a word, first I want you to try and think of how you might circumlocate that word before you look it up. Of course, if you have the option to look it up, you can always do that, but it's great if you are in a conversation to not have to look something up and to be able to say something in the moment. Vale, hasta la próxima.